There have been notable advancements in industrial water blast systems since water blasting became an important cleaning tool some 30 years ago. Some of these advancements resulted in more efficient water blast accessories to accomplish more cleaning work in shorter times, while other advancements have resulted in more reliable and easier to maintain water blast equipment. The pump, however, which is the heart and the most important component of a water blast system, has been lagging behind in major advancements. Most water blast pumps sold and operated today utilize 20-year-old pump technology. I want to show you a new generation pump, JetStream's UNX, whose advanced design will lower your water blast system's operating cost and increase your system's operating range and effectiveness. To appreciate the benefits of UNX, we'll first look at the inner workings of a common water blast pump, and then examine the problems with these older generation water blast pumps that are still on the market today. A water blast pump consists of a power end and a fluid end. The power end of the pump converts rotary motion into back and forth motion to drive the fluid end. The fluid end produces the high-pressure water. As the fluid end's plunger moves back, its suction valve opens and water is pulled into the plunger chamber at low pressure. As the plunger moves forward, the suction valve closes and the discharge valve opens. The packing bears down to form a seal against the forward-moving plunger as high-pressure water is forced out of the chamber. The fluid end is subjected to severe operating conditions as the high-pressure water is being produced. High-pressure pulses are created on every plunger stroke. These pulses spike, causing the valves to hammer on their seats and the packing to bear on its moving plunger at pressures actually higher than the pump's pressure gauge reading. Depending on the pump's speed, these severe conditions occur up to 8 times per second from each plunger. The fluid end's plunger packing must also endure literally miles of plunger travel through it. Because of these severe conditions, the fluid end is where most of the pump problems occur. Let's take a closer look at some problem areas of these common pumps on the market that still use 20-year-old pump design technology. Both of these fluid ends have a large central block or fluid cylinder that is highly prone to fatigue failure damage caused by the same pressure spikes we saw earlier. Both have separate suction and discharge valves that are positioned either within or on the outside of the fluid cylinder. Leakage around these valves can cause severe erosion damage to the fluid cylinder. Now let's take a look at the UNX water blast pump. At first glance, you'll notice the simplistic design of the UNX. Looking inside the fluid end, you can really appreciate its simplicity. Developing this simple design was the first step JetStream took to provide a more rugged and trouble-free water blast pump. UNX is the only pump on the market that does not have a fluid cylinder. You see, fluid cylinders, like those found on other pumps, crack and have fatigue failures due to the damaging pressure pulses that we saw earlier. Instead of a fluid cylinder, the UNX uses a simple manifold to conduct low-pressure suction and high-pressure discharge water to and from its valves. This manifold cannot fail like a fluid cylinder because it's not exposed to the plunger's pressure pulses. With the UNX, the high cost and inconvenience of replacing the fluid cylinder does not exist. Still, another dependability feature is the UNX's inline valves. They allow the fluid end to work smoother and with lower pressure pulses. The result is increased valve life, increased packing life, and increased pump reliability. Other fluid ends contain an unnecessarily high number of parts that must be handled and maintained throughout the life of the pump. Let's compare the number of parts in 2 common fluid ends to the number of parts found in the simple UNX. First, let's take a look at this fluid end design. It contains 81 total parts. And this one?
103 parts. The UNX, on the other hand, contains only 37 total parts.
The UNX has a number of operator-friendly safeguard features that will save operating time and money. For example, where other pumps use threaded-style plungers that can unscrew during operation and crash into the suction valve, the UNX uses clamp-style plungers to prevent this from ever happening. Clamp-style plungers maintain a safe connection to the pony rod at all times. Another operator-friendly safeguard feature is that the UNX fluid end uses its discharge pressure to automatically clamp itself together. This reduces the number of cap screws required to hold the fluid end together, from the usual 24 or 36 cap screws to only 8 cap screws on the UNX. Fewer cap screws also means less cap screw tightening hassles or leakage problems for the operator. These are just a few of the features that help make the UNX truly an operator's favorite. The UNX is the easiest pump to maintain on the market. Slip-fit components, coupled with cartridge-style repair parts, make the UNX simple and easy to maintain. For example, the UNX's suction and discharge valves, valve seats, springs, and all of the valve seals are uniquely combined into a single cartridge called a univalve. Access to the univalve cartridges is easy.
First, remove the manifold cap screws. The manifold will now swing down about its bottom hinge. The univalves can now be popped out of their pockets using 2 standard screwdrivers. With this easy access system, the univalves can be inspected, repaired, or replaced in minutes.
Removing the valves on other pumps isn't as easy as a UNX. Let's take a look at 2 popular styles of pumps and compare them to the simplicity of the UNX. This pump incorporates a large central block or fluid cylinder and 2 separate manifolds, 1 suction manifold and 1 discharge manifold. To remove the valves on this pump, you first have to remove 8 cap screws from the discharge manifold.
This may prove a bit difficult, as this style pump requires discharge cap screw torques of at least 600 foot-pounds.
Remember, the UNX uses its discharge pressure to help clamp the manifold to the power end. Its discharge pressure actually works for it, not against it. This means you'll never have to worry about excessive cap screw torquing. After the 8 cap screws are removed, it's time to remove the discharge manifold. This will require a lifting device or the help of a second man to lift the discharge manifold off of the fluid cylinder.
With all that said and done, it's finally time to remove the discharge valves. Unfortunately, you're only halfway through the operation. We've successfully removed the discharge valves. It's now time to remove the suction valves. This procedure is essentially the same as removing the discharge valves. Remove the 12 suction manifold cap screws. Remove the suction manifold. Be sure you're wearing protective footwear, such as steel-toed boots, as the suction valves will sometimes fall when you pull the suction manifold away from the fluid cylinder. Now you're finally done. Getting to the valves, that is. Remember, once you've replaced the valves, this all has to go back on.
This style pump incorporates a suction manifold and a massive fluid cylinder.
To remove the valves on this pump, first remove the 3 top plugs. This will allow you access to the discharge valves. Use a set of long pliers to reach in and remove the valve spring, and then the valve. To remove the valve seat, you have to use a specialized or proprietary removal tool. Screw this tool into the valve seat and use a hammering action until it finally breaks loose. This procedure has to be repeated for each of the remaining 2 discharge valve assemblies. To remove the suction valves, you have to first remove the 12 cap screws that hold the suction manifold on the fluid cylinder. Then remove the suction manifold. Once removed, the special valve seat removal tool should be used to hammer the seat until it breaks loose. Remove the valve and then the spring. Follow this by using long pliers to remove the valve guide.
To a specialized mechanic, These common maintenance operations may not seem like much work, but when pitted against the maintenance simplicity of the UNX, they pale in comparison.
Remember, to remove the valves on the UNX, all you have to do is remove 8 cap screws, swing the manifold down on its hinge, and pop the cartridges out with a standard pair of screwdrivers.
One of the biggest pluses to the UNX's simplistic design is the fact that periodic maintenance checks are a reality without the cost of downtime or specialized manpower. The UNX valves can be checked in the field by one operator with no special tools in a matter of minutes. All other pump designs are so time-consuming and difficult that periodic maintenance checks are not practical. They require special mechanics, too many specialized tools, too much time to work on, and usually require the use of a crane-equipped shop. It's so inconvenient, in fact, that most owners of these pumps never check the valves until something goes wrong on the job. What then? Do you have the time to perform a valve job? Can you afford the downtime? Many people solve the downtime problem by purchasing a second unit to take to the job site solely as a backup. This may act as good insurance, but it equates to poor equipment management. Remember, with the UNX, you have the ability to easily inspect, repair, or replace any of the valves at any time. Now let's take a look at packing removal. This is a very important task to consider when choosing a pump, because packing changeout is the most common maintenance task performed on pumps. This is true for every pump on the market. JetStream has made this a simple 2-part procedure. Let's take a look.
First, remove the plunger clamp. Then all you have to do is unscrew the packing gland. That's it. The packing set, plunger, and gland nut all lift out in one convenient assembly.
The UNX's plunger packing set is called Unipack. Unlike other replacement packing sets that contain only the packing rings, JetStream's Unipack set contains all the parts, including the plunger brass, to make the entire packing section of the stuffing box up to new condition. Let's compare the simplicity of the UNX first with this style pump.
Using 2 wrenches and a considerable amount of torque, unscrew the plunger from the crosshead stub. Now, push the plunger into the stuffing box. Remove the 4 stuffing box flange bolts. This may prove a bit tricky, as the bolt's location and confined area makes them hard to get to. Now, pry on the stuffing box until it breaks loose from the fluid cylinder. Once this is complete, you can remove the stuffing box and plunger assembly from the fluid cylinder. Remove the packing spring from the plunger and push the plunger out of the stuffing box. Now you have to use a special tool to literally hammer the packing out of the stuffing box.
You've now gained access to the packing, at least to one set of packing. You must repeat this entire procedure 2 more times to gain access to all 3 packing sets. The packing changeout procedure is similar in this style of pump. You must first start out as though you're going to replace the valves. Remove the 12 cap screws that hold the suction manifold on, and remove the suction manifold from the face of the fluid cylinder. We've already been through that procedure, so we'll pick up where we left off with the valve change.
At this point, to remove the first set of packing, you have to loosen the gland nut. Then remove the plunger. The plunger on this style pump has to come through the front of the fluid cylinder. Once this is complete, use a rod to push the throat bushing, packing springs, packing set, and rear packing ring from the front to the rear of the fluid end.
You now have access to one set of packing. Repeat the entire procedure 2 more times to gain access to all 3 packing sets. If you're like most people, packing changeout, which is the most common maintenance task of any pump, doesn't seem very appealing. At least not with either of these 2 pumps. Why should you have to disassemble half of your pump to do a simple packing change? Well, you don't. Not with JetStream's UNX pump. Remember, the complete packing procedure is a simple 2-part operation.
Remove the plunger clamp, and unscrew the packing gland. That's it. The entire packing set, plunger, and gland nut all lift out in one convenient assembly.
And while we're on the subject of packing changeout, I'd like to say a few words about the packing itself. When you order packing from most any pump manufacturer, all you receive are the replacement packing rings. This will allow you to replace your old packing rings, but it really doesn't bring your pump back up to like new working condition. This is why every packing set that JetStream sells includes not only the packing rings, but also the packing brass. By changing the brass every time you perform a packing changeout, you literally bring the pump back up to its new working condition. This is because the brass is what keeps your plungers aligned. As you can see, no other Waterblast pump is as quick and easy to maintain as the UNX. JetStream engineers not only designed a fluid end that is simple to use and to maintain, but it's also versatile. The UNX can be converted from an 8,000, 10,000, or 15,000 PSI pump to a 20,000 or higher PSI pump in minutes.
For a higher pressure UNX, simply disconnect the plunger clamps, change out the stuffing box assemblies, replace the lower pressure manifold with the higher pressure manifold. That's it.
The higher pressure manifold is designed with special internal flow passages for optimal higher pressure performance. And it uses integral special connections for safer higher pressure operation. Slip-fit modular design and parts light enough to be handled without a crane or forklift give the UNX fast and easy pressure range convertibility. The UNX, therefore, can be two pumps in one. A lower pressure pump for the majority of jobs, and a 20,000 or higher PSI pump for the tough jobs that require the extra pressure. So, what do all of these UNX features mean to you? All of the UNX features combine to give you lower pump operating costs, fewer operating headaches, and more flexibility in your daily Waterblast operations.
Easy access inline valve cartridge design allows fast on-the-job maintenance, eliminating the need for specialized pump mechanics or backup equipment. Add to this fewer parts, easy access packing, and the pressure range conversion features of the UNX, and you can appreciate value that no other Waterblast pump can provide. UNX fluid ends are available as direct bolt-on replacements for all popular Waterblast pumps. The UNX fluid end also comes standard on all JetStream bare shaft pumps and on all JetStream Waterblast systems. UNX replacement fluid ends are direct bolt-on replacements for original equipment pump fluid ends. They can be used as an economical replacement for a severely damaged fluid end or as a pump upgrade to achieve operating pressures up to 40,000 psi. UNX replacement fluid ends are available for all popular Waterblast pumps and are supplied with all of the necessary plumbing and hardware to make them immediately operational. UNX bare shaft pumps are available in sizes from 25 to 300 horsepower and can be purchased separately should you ever decide to build your own custom unit. UNX bare shaft pumps use JetStream power ends that are built tough, just like the fluid ends. UNX Waterblast units are available in pressures up to 40,000 psi and sizes from 25 to 300 horsepower. These units are designed and built around the JetStream commitment to reliability, ease of operation, and ease of maintenance. The well-proven UNX pump line has been in production since 1987. Since then, hundreds of UNXs operating both as complete pumps or as replacement and pressure conversion fluid ends have been put into service with satisfied customers. JetStream has been manufacturing Waterblast equipment for over 20 years. Our manufacturing facility in Houston, Texas operates around the clock to provide our customers with the best products and service available in the Waterblast industry. Call your JetStream representative today if you have any questions concerning the UNX or if you would like some additional information on the entire UNX line of products.